as a guest, right? Because we are guests here.
What does that mean? Guests?
We're guests. This is not a Muslim country. This is not a Muslim country.
It's a freedom of religion country.
Yeah.
It's a secular country.
Okay.
What do you mean we're guests? I'm a citizen here. I'm not a guest.
Yeah.
No. Hold on. I'm not a guest. I have a passport. I was born here.
Of course.
I'm a birth certificate.
What I'm saying
it's my
the
country.
Islamic faith, of course it's your country, but what I'm saying is that the Islamic faith is not a part of the American infrastructure.
Neither is Christianity.
It's not. Well, you want to give your position then? Because you saw what I had to say then. So
about Adhan playing?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you hear church bells play, I mean, like Dearborn is majority Muslim, right? It's a small town.
It's about it's like 50, 50, 60, somewhere around there.
Points of contention. There's Dearborn and there's also Times Square.
I will say it's like 50-60% Muslim. 50-60% like Middle Eastern, but we don't know if they're Muslim.
Yeah.
So like they're from the Middle East and North Africa. So you can assume a majority of them probably are Muslim, but we don't know if all of them.
Yeah, probably 60-70%.
Yeah,
but there's no
like we could say 90% of that.
But even in Morocco or Saudi Arabia, there's still you hear the Adhan, and there's still many Christians that live there, and many.
Yeah, but like they're not actively asserting their religion publicly in these Muslim countries.
What do you mean?
So okay, my thing is this: the United States is a Christian country. It was founded by Protestant Christians.
No, it's a secular country.
Well, here's the thing. So
we have freedom of religion. It's always
we do. But when they had the freedom of religion and the separation of church and state, that was instituted not just for freedom of religion purposes, but also because there are the fights between Catholics, Baptists, Protestants, etc. So what they wanted to separate the church from the state so that neither can corrupt the other. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like the separation of church and state was actually instituted to protect both institutions from corrupting each other.
The founding fathers had an opportunity to use the Bible and the Constitution, and they decided not to because it's a secular country.
But they do reference God. They do reference God in there.
But they say God. They don't say Jesus. Which is more universal. And they were very specific about that. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson himself, he also said that he wants America to be for the Jews, for the Mohammedan. This is a quote, the Mohammedans. And for the.
You call them Mohammedans?
That's what he said.
That's funny.
The Mohammedans.
That's funny.
I think it was common back then. So he specifically referenced that. Also in DC, there's a mural on the top, on the ceiling with depictions of prophets and of different gods from all religions.
Are you sure? Because in Islam, they're not supposed to depict.
Yeah, they're not supposed to depict, but it's not, they weren't Muslim, but yeah, there is a depiction.
Are you sure that that's references like Islamic prophet? Like, because remember, we share the same prophets as them. So like they could, we observe Moses, Jesus, Abraham, like we observe all of them as prophets. So look, my thing is like, and even with the church bells, like let's assume they play church, because church bells are banned in a lot of places. But let's assume
I hear to my apartment in New York.
That's New York is, I don't know what the rules are in New York, but the thing is, let's assume that church bells are legal everywhere. Let's assume they're legal everywhere and they play them loud and everything. This is still a Christian country. I think they can do that. What does that mean? It's a Christian country. This was founded by Christians. But this is a Christian nation.
But we have freedom of religion. But it's not in the Bible's not referenced.
We have freedom of religion. But at the end of the day, we did not. Muslims. We are guests here. We are not the. This is not a Muslim nation. This was not founded by Muslims. Like at the end of the day, the host religion gets to assert a level of dominance, unfortunately, because they are the majority and they're the ones that.
But the founding fathers didn't intend for that. They didn't even say that. They didn't say they want Christian dominance. If they wanted Christian dominance, they would have included the Bible and the Constitution. They would have said Jesus.
Well, they did that, like I said before, to avoid issues between Baptists and Protestants and Catholics, because this was an issue back in Europe with the church and the state being involved and intertwined. But when they forged it, they didn't expect, oh yeah, we're going to have freedom of religion, but let another religion come in and dominate. Like, let me explain. So like, if you go to any of these Muslim countries, right, you can practice in peace, right? You can practice Christianity or your religions in peace, except for, I don't think paganism is allowed in any of the Muslim countries. That's a problem. But if you're a Jew or if you're a Christian or whatever, you can practice. But like, you can't like assert that religion openly, like praying on the streets or doing anything like that in a Muslim country.
You can pray in the streets in a Muslim country.
In huge groups?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, bro. No.
That's not happening. There's no example of that happening. Of Christians not praying on the street.
But why do they not do it?
Because Christians don't pray on the street.
No, but if they did, why don't they do it then?
I don't know. It's just not.
Why don't they record themselves doing it openly in these Sharia law countries?
That's not Christian practice.
Because they respect the country. They respect the host nation. But I'm saying that as Muslims, we should do the same. Like this is not our country. We did not found this country.
But look, so all different religions that people pray at.
We got mosques. We could pray at home. Like my issue isn't with praying. My issue is with openly praying and disrupting others. Okay. If you're openly praying and you're not disrupting anybody, I don't care. Like some dude in Dallas.
I was in Times Square. We weren't disrupting anybody. I was there on the front line. I made a whole vlog. We could watch it.
Yeah, bro.
There was no nobody was disrupted.
Here's the thing.
Not one person there complained.
I guarantee you that, of course, they're not going to complain because they don't want to be labeled bigots. But in New York City, where they're cuck, the reality is people probably wanted to go there. I guarantee you there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that went there and were like, "Yo, I want to take pictures of Times Square," and they're like, "Oh, these guys are praying. I can't go in now."
It was the section right in front of the stairs. It wasn't blocking the sidewalk. There's an open walking area, and it was that section. It was really cold that day.
Of course.
And we said that, and the people were still like Times Square wasn't shut down.
No, of course
it wasn't illegal. Like it wasn't like we had the cops or anything. We just all gathered there and prayed.
Here's the thing, man. Like praying in a symbolic Western location that's a tourist destination.
What about like Chinese festivals
and disrupting?
That's a public display of their culture.
Yeah, well,
I hear that. What about?
I'm not a fan, dude. Honestly, I don't think we should have any of these fucking parades.
You shouldn't have parades.
I don't think we should have cultural parades. No.
There was just a Yom Kippur celebration in New York. They
get them niggas out of here.
It's not going to happen, bro. New York is a very diverse place.
Here's the thing. I don't think we should be running any other flags. I don't think we should be doing any of these parades of where these niggas come from. I don't think we should be doing any of that, personally. I think it should be straight American nationalism, American flags only, no other flags. I don't think people should be openly practicing their religion, and I reserve Christians to be able to practice their religion.
Why not share the same hour? Like there was the Dominican Day Parade was last month. I went there, did a stream.
Yeah, get them niggas out of here.
And people waving it's like a big festival. It's like a big celebration in New York.
No, I'm not.
I didn't see a big outrage from you about that. I don't see anyone.
Oh, dude, I've shit on these parades and shit all the time, bro. Like I am not a fan of like any of these. Puerto Rican Day Parade, I've made jokes on that shit because they're fucking Americans. What the fuck are they doing? Nobody cares about reggaeton, doom. Like, and this is kind of where.
So is that them asserting dominance?
To a degree, yeah, for sure.
So it's the same thing.
Yes. That is a form of them asserting dominance to a degree, and I'm not a fan of it. Like, I think we need to go back to a hardcore nationalism, America only, one flag policy, none of this bullshit.
One flag policy?
Yeah, like one flag, America flag.
What about freedom of speech? That doesn't make sense. Like, there's freedom of expression is the core tenet of being an American.
Of course. But I think having parades is not. Nah.
Parades is part of speech.
It is a part of speech, but I don't think. Look, you should be able to freely express yourself to a degree. But when we're sanctioning
to a degree,
to a degree, yes.
So what's the degree?
The degree is once it starts to interfere with American nationalism. I think that's when you start running into problems because
we have no more free speech.
We don't have no. We have free speech, but
you saying we shouldn't?
No, I'm saying we have free speech, but obviously there's always limits on free speech, right? Like, for example, you can't run into
free speech.
You can't run into a theater and say, well, that's free speech absolutism. You can't run into a theater and say, fire, that's free speech absolutism, right? I would say we want to have free speech.
Incitement of violence.
Maximalism. Maximalism.
Incitement of violence is, I think, is a fair thing to exclude from that. But parades aren't incitement of violence. It's a celebration.
It's an incitement to nationalism of another country that, quite frankly,
and that's against free speech.
I'm not going to say it's against free speech. I think you should be able to do it to a degree. But once you're shutting off streets, right?
When we were praying at Times Square, we didn't shut off the street.
Bruh,
the streets were still open.
You're impeding people.
Nobody was impeded.
They can't walk in front of you when you pray. You and I know that. You can't walk in front of them.
Yeah, in that area in front of the stairs.
They
could walk in front, like on the other street, across the street.
Why did y'all pray like somewhere else, not in Times Square?
We wouldn't have fit. This is for everybody.
Why not pray in a mosque? There's plenty of mosques in New York City, all over the place.
This is for Times Square for everybody to come together from all over the city. They all came there. We wouldn't have fit in a mosque. There was too many people.
Bro, pray in a mosque. Like, pray in a mosque.
We wouldn't be able to fit.
I truly do think we need to bring patriotism back. We need to bring back nationalism back. And
what else is happening in Times Square? See, you're upset about like praying in public. What else is happening in Times Square at the time? Like Mickey Mouse, Elmo, drug deals, fights.
Yeah, of course.
Peanuts. Like, it's just stupid shit, like rappers selling CDs. It's not like the alternative to what else is happening in Times Square besides praying is like, okay, were we really interrupting anything important? No. The only thing we stopped was a couple drug deals and Elmo and gorillas.
No, man, because here's the thing. Police got to go out there.
There was no cops.
We had
no cops.
Nothing.
It was just us, completely organized.
I still don't.
It wasn't sanctioned by the city. We just showed up.
I think, right, when you're praying and you're disrupting once your prayer and your worship starts to disrupt other people,
drug deals in Elmo,
it's still disrupting. Like, it's still disrupting. Like, I get what you're saying. Okay, drug deals in Elmo, but also families that might have wanted to walk in that area, people that might have wanted to take pictures in that area.
Times Square's like 3 blocks.
Now they got to listen to you guys pray out loud. Like, and this is what I'm trying to say.
20 minutes?
It's still disrupting, man.
Okay, but there's still disrupting. But parades happen all the time.
And the thing that kills me is like, y'all could just pray in a mosque. Pray in the mosque. Like, why does everyone have to?
We do pray in a mosque too.
Yeah, but pray in the mosque. Just pray in the mosque only. Like, why do you guys got to pray out loud, like out in front of everybody?
I mean, it's a display of culture. Like, what about the Hare Krishna? Every park in New York City, if you go to Washington Square Park, Central Park, you'll see all these bald white people when they have the monk outfits on. They're like, Hare Krishna, banging the drum. I see that every single day in the train stations, in the park. They do it loudly in public.
Look,
but, like it's not a big deal. I just see them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, hey, and they offer you a book.
And you're used to it because you're like in New York City, you're around these all the time. Like my thing is I think once your worship starts to get to a point where you're disrupting other people, I think that's a problem, right? Especially
nobody complained. Like, there was no
they don't complain because they don't want to be called. This is a very, bro. You got to remember, no one's going to complain because this is a controversial take. Like, not a lot of people are willing to sit there and say, bro, you probably shouldn't be praying. And I get attacked for it as a Muslim guy. I can only imagine someone that's not Muslim saying like, getting attacked, being called Islamophobic.
How is it disrupting?
Most people are scared.
It's a public space. Like, so you can do that. You could pray. So look, public spaces, you can play your phone speaker. You can do drug deals. You could.
Sure.
What about, is the gorilla who takes up space? Is he disrupting people from walking on that side of the sidewalk? Like, I don't understand this.
I don't think it's appropriate as 1 to 2% of the population to be openly praying.
1% of the population is
what Muslims are about 1.5 to 2% of the population in America.
Minority. When people say like there's an Islamic takeover,
no, that's a lie. That's a scam. I agree with you. I agree with you. There's not a Muslim takeover. It's really a Jewish takeover because they're a minority. We don't have the same representation in government. Whatever. What I'm saying is, as a guest, right? Because we are guests here. I think
what does that mean? Guess.
We're guests. This is not a Muslim country. This is not a Muslim country.
Oh, then you could make an argument that it's a Jewish country if they control 98% of the politicians.
Oh my God, this guy.
But I mean, it's a freedom of religion country.
Yeah.
It's a secular country.
Okay,
what do you mean we're guests? I'm a citizen here. I'm not a guest.
Yeah.
No. Hold on. I'm not a guest. I have a passport. I was born here.
Of course.
I'm a birth certificate.
What I'm saying is,
it's my
the
country.
Islamic faith, is of course it's your country. But what I'm saying is that the Islamic faith is not a part of the American infrastructure.
Neither is Christianity.
It's not. This country was founded by Christians.
But it's not part of the American doctrine.
The people that founded this country.
It's not in the doctrine. Just because
the separation of church and state was put in place so that either would not corrupt each other, but it's still a Christian country founded by Christian people, right? Because you can make the argument. You can make the argument like Syria isn't a Muslim country because Bashar al-Assad was a secularist, or Saddam Hussein was a secularist. It's still a Muslim country majority, and they're going to play that then.
I'll say that. Yeah, it's a Christian majority country, but it's not a Christian country by definition.
I think this is a Christian country,
but there's no paperwork or any it's not in the Constitution.
It was found. It's not they have God in it.
Even when you pledge allegiance. As an American, I grew up
pledge allegiance saying by God. The God is mentioned in the
Do you say Jesus? They believe
you say God.
You don't say Jesus.
You say God. You don't have to say Jesus because
you don't say the Holy Spirit.
To them, God and Jesus are synonymous. Synonymous.
Yes and no. Actually, if you talk to a Christian,
it depends on who you talk to. Yes,
being honest, bro.
They look at God and Jesus as the same. Like because he's the Son of God. So
he's also God's only begotten Son. So they are separate entities.
It depends on who you look at. Who you're asking.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But the reason that this is in God we trust is because it's the most universal statement.
Yes, but the point I'm trying to make is that regardless. This country was founded by Christians. They reserve the right to run the country however they want. And if they do want to play church, I take it a step further. If they want to play the church bells, I think they can because this is a Christian country. Just like in a Muslim country, if they want to play that Dan 10 times a day, you got to shut up and take it.
Okay, so if it's a Christian country, then why do you not support Israel? Doesn't the Bible for evangelical Christians say God blesses those who bless the state of Israel?
Because we
by
know
that definition,
we know that evangelicals is capped.
Okay, well, I mean, it was founded by Protestant Christians. That's what Protestants believe. If you're following your logic that you want to be a patriot and a nationalist, then you should support Israel.
Actually, Protestants don't really fuck with what's his name, The Jews and Their Lies by who wrote he was the head of he was the founder of Protestantism. Something Luther.
Martin Luther?
No, I think it was Martin Luther. Yeah, dude. Only evangelical Christians like observe Israel as like real. Everyone else, like all real niggas, Christians, like Catholics, Orthodox Christians.
What do Protestants think?
They don't fuck with Jews either.
They don't say God bless the state of Israel.
No, that's just evangelical retards.
Okay, so what?
And Schofield Bible reader niggas, but most Christians are that aren't retarded. Right, and remember, this is just American Christians. Christians all over the place don't. If you look at Eastern Europe, they're all super anti-Semitic. They're real niggas.
Okay, so wait, so
Orthodox Christians are super anti-Semitic. Shout out to them.
Yeah, but like
they don't fuck with the Jews. Let me just say that because anti-Semitism is a fake word.
But it's your mentality approaching thinking that we're guests here.
Yeah, I think we're guests here. That is.
Dude, Myron, we were born here.
No, the Islamic faith and the religion of Islam. You are a guest as a Muslim in the United States.
I'm not a guest in my home.
Bro, we are guests here.
We are
guests here.
We were born here.
Yes, but our religion, our religion.
So now your faith makes you a guest.
Yes, if you're gonna open, yes, to a degree, yes.
To a degree, or
yeah, because obviously everything is like nuance, like nothing is absolute. But like the point I'm trying to make is that the Islamic faith, as this is not a Muslim country, so therefore,
so what about Catholics? Are Catholics guests because it was founded by Protestants?
I would say they're closer to.
So they're still guests.
I would say they're because here's the thing with Catholicism, Christianity, all of it. It's all It's all kind of one. I look at them all as the same. Like they all believe in Jesus. They all believe in Jesus.
They disagree with each other,
of course, fundamentally. But I would say
a lot of them say that each other are.
If they believe in Christ, they're a Christian to a degree. What denomination isn't really as relevant is if they believe in Jesus as their Lord and Savior, that makes them a Christian.
The Protestants criticize the Catholics for praying to Mary.
See, that's arguments within themselves. But in general, they're all Christians because they all believe in Jesus. There's different.
Yeah, but by your
Muslims,
logic,
for example, right? There's Sunnis and there's Shia. But we don't look at them differently with our faith, honestly. We really don't. They pray in the same mosque. They do some funny shit praying on rocks.
That's not all true.
But they pray in the same mosque in general.
Sometimes. There's some Shia mosques. But
they can pray alongside.
By your logic.
They're not considered kuffars. They're not considered kafirs. They're just misguided. Sunnis.
By your logic, then only Protestant Christians should be the non-guests in America if it was founded by Protestant Christians.
No, because they're all Christians. I look at them all as Christians. Denominations, this is literally why the whole separation of church and state was a thing, was to avoid that problem, fights between themselves. So they literally instructed that in place to deal with that very problem you're talking about, which is like the different sects in Christianity.
Okay.
That's why the separation of church and state was instilled, was to keep Baptists, Protestants, Catholics, and all these other guys from fighting each other, because this is the problem that they had in England with the Catholic Church and everything else.
So you believe we're guests in our own country?
I believe as Muslims, we are guests in America, yes, because America is not a Muslim country like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, like Sudan, like UAE, like Qatar. These are Muslim countries. When we go there, we respect and we don't say a word. When we were in Dubai, we had jalabiyas on. I spoke Arabic whenever I had a chance, right? We assimilated. We respected that culture, right? As even the first time before you reverted, we respected that culture because we understood we are guests there. I think Muslims need to exercise the same thing in the United States.
Yeah, I know, because we're literally visiting Dubai.
Yeah.
I was born here. Like, it doesn't...
Yeah, but the Islamic faith, we're American citizens, but the Islamic faith is not. There's
nothing. I mean, you're just making up America. Like
we're 1% of the population. That in itself proves that this is not a Muslim country.
You can single out anybody and say that they're a minority to some extent. It's not. You don't need to describe somebody just by their faith. You could say that your skin color is, or where you're from, or.
But when we're talking about
people
faith,
have glasses.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hindus, Jews, Muslims, we're all guests in America. Being honest, we all are. I'm not just saying this is as Muslims we're guests. I think.
What about minorities? Are minorities guests in America?
Like, what do you mean minorities? Like blacks and shit like that? Or
anybody not
Asians?
White? Anybody not white?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yeah.
We're also guests.
Yeah, white people built and founded this country, bro. We're all guests here.
Okay, so America is entitled to white Christians only. They're the only non-guests here. So you have to be
founders.
To be a true American, you need to be a white Christian.
I never said that. I never.
You said everyone else is not a guest.
We are Americans, but we are guests here. Because we did not found this country. We're Americans, but like we're not the, I guess, original Americans.
Okay, so what about Europeans, like people with second-generation Europeans who came here?
Well, I'm talking about like the people here that like their family's been here for generations, fought in the Revolutionary Wars, whatever.
Okay, so if I'm a white guy and my parents immigrated here after World War II, and I'm a white Christian, and my parents are from Germany, all right?
And you came here after World War II.
Am I a guest?
I would say from framers' perspective, if you came like you were here in the 1700s, like if you have lineage back to like the colonial individuals.
What is that, like 5% of the country?
Probably not as much, yeah. I mean, probably
so
not.
Everyone's a guest here?
A lot, yeah.
So whose country is it? It's just those 5% of people?
I would say America is a white majority Christian country. And we are guests here. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So the only 95% of people here are guests.
Yeah, dude. Nowadays, yeah, with the mass immigration, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
95% of people.
A lot of them, yeah, a lot of them are guests.
Okay, so then,
and this is why we have a lot of the problems we have, because we have all these people coming in, bringing their cultures, not assimilating, not learning language. Like New York City, I'll give you an example. New York City is a perfect example. New York City is the definition of a melting pot. You got people from the Caribbean, from Africa.
It's always been that way.
That's
since like the 40s predominantly.
It's been but.
Even before that, it's always been
even more so now.
With the Ellis Island, the turn of the century, it's always
of course, and it's always the Statue of Liberty. Give us your week and whatever, cool, whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is like New York City is a perfect example of like why this multiculturalism, mass multiculturalism, doesn't work a lot of the time. Like I think New York City is a failed city.
It's really safe. This is the least amount of crime we've had in a while,
bro. New York City. Okay, that's fine. But
how is it a failed city? It's a great city.
It's a failed city, bro.
But based on what?
I think it's a failed city. Crime metrics, dirtiness, cost of living has been going through the roof as the decades pass. I think New York City is a failed city, bro. And I think
so. When was New York City?
And if it were not for its historic and premier position as a major city in the United States, it would be degraded even further.
So when was New York not failed? Because in the 70s, there were prostitutes all over Times Square. Drugs were worse. Crime was worse. Giuliani did, fix a lot of that stuff.
Giuliani did fix a lot. The 90s was actually the most. 1990 was the most murders.
Okay, the mafia was running it in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Why that it was failed then?
I think it was better than it is now. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was better than, because here's the thing, right? So here's the difference. When the mafia was running things and they were involved in crime or whatever, they were killing each other, right? They were like killing each other, like other made guys. Hey, you have a problem with this family, whatever. Yeah, the violence sucked and everything else like that. But it isn't like now. Like now it's worse because you're like getting, well, the 70s was the worst decade, by the way, for crime. But I think New York City has gotten worse as it's become more and more of a bro, mass immigration in itself creates a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think, and New York City is like a beautiful personification of that.
Yeah, but
that
it's
mass immigration creates problems.
People say that and then they go visit New York. And
so like us having this majority of guests has actually created a lot of problems for us because now everyone's like me and you.
Okay, so
learn English language, like assimilate to the culture,
should the guests,
respect the culture.
Should the American guest, like who should be deported from America?
People that are here illegally. People that are here illegally. Yeah, get deported.
And what about the people in Dearborn playing, the Adon? Should they be deported?
If they're here illegally, yeah. If they're here illegally, yeah. But my thing is, like, I don't think it's fair to the other residents of Dearborn to play the Adon multiple times a day just because you enjoy a slight majority. It's only like 50, 60% Muslim majority there. And, well, excuse me, let me rephrase. It's 50, 60% Arabs and people from North Africa, which you can assume 90% of them are going to be Muslim. So you can assume that it's a slight majority. I don't think it's fair to the other 40% in the United States that they have to deal with listening to the Adhan 5 times a day. Yeah. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back to like,
because I truly don't think America is a Muslim country, and we don't have the numbers to even represent.
But it's also not a Christian. It's not a Christian country. It's just not.
I think it's a Christian country, and we could disagree to disagree there.
But it's not in the Constitution. You don't have to say it to become a citizen.
I don't think
you don't
it has
need to declare it. There's freedom of religion, and so like that's the. If you're actually going to talk about what it means to be an American, if you look at the amendments and you look at the rights that we have, it has nothing to do with being a Christian.
Again, just because it's not in the doctrine, Constitution, so to speak, right? Or maybe even the Bill of Rights or whatever, does not mean
any of the
and they probably did that on purpose.
Paperwork.
And they probably did that on purpose, right? To
not declare it as a Christian, as a single religion's country. Well, that's the whole reason they did that. So I'm going to follow what the founding fathers said.
Yeah. But here's the thing. America does have an identity, whether people want to accept it or not. And this is where we can have the disagreement.
What's the identity?
The American identity is a majority white country that's a Christian nation. That is the American identity, unfortunately. And I'll give you an example of this. If you go to Japan or China or whatever, and you envision an American, what are they going to envision, right? At least now, they're going to envision, or at least historically, before the mass immigration, a Caucasian individual eating a hamburger that's fat. That's what they think of Americans. Hillbilly, whatever the fuck it may be.
Okay,
that's what people think of. And that is the identity of America. That's what it is.
A fat hillbilly, but not a.
I'm saying the stereotype. That's how they would stereotype it. But like they would envision a Caucasian American with an American accent, whatever. Like if you're trying to have the American, what's the word I want to use here? Like emblem, right? Like if you went to a country and you say you need someone to like be able to identify something right off without saying a word, what would you use? You would use a white person with some jorts, a cowboy hat, right? Maybe an American flag, and be like, okay, what is this person? An American, right? Yeah. That's what they would think, right? Versus if they gave me and you, it would be harder for them because they would be like, I don't know. We'd maybe have to speak English. These are the things they'd have to like figure out. They'd have to figure out that we're American. But if you're saying, if your life depended on it, right? If let's say you played a game, right? And your life depended on it, and you needed the person to guess what you're trying to convey, or else you die. And what you needed to convey was an American. What would you draw? You would draw a white individual with some fucking overalls, cowboy hat, a fucking piece of wheat in their teeth, right? Maybe chewing some tobacco, maybe a little overweight, eating a hamburger, right? And an American flag. Because if your life depended on it, that's what you would use. You would not use me. You would not use you. You would not use a Muslim, even though these people can all be Americans. But there is a stereotypical image of what an American is. Now, let's be honest. That is changing because of mass immigration or whatever. But the reality is, when you think of an American, someone that hasn't been here before, that's what comes to mind. Okay. Country music, overalls, cowboy boots,
and anything
cowboy
that's
hat.
Not that should not be allowed in its asserting dominance.
I didn't say that it shouldn't be allowed. I said that I think
you said that they shouldn't be able to pray in public.
I think praying in public and disrupting others while praying in public is a problem.
No one was disrupted.
Bro, you're disrupting. You admitted it. 20 minutes disruption. I think it's still a problem.
Disrupting what? What does that mean? What does that mean?
People want to go to Times Square, bro.
Times Square wasn't closed. I agree that you shouldn't be able to like shut down streets.
Yeah.
If like whenever you want.
And just so you know, my haters, that's what they're arguing with me. It's like we should be able to shut down streets and do what we want to do.
But that's not what we did. You said that's what
not you. But like I'm
but you said that's what people in Times Square. That's not what happened. The street was still open.
Okay,
it's just the people that were gathered there. Okay, but it's just.
And here's another thing too. They've definitely shut down areas in other places, whether in the UK, playing that down multiple times a day, playing it in Minneapolis, playing it in Dearborn, etc. This is all disruptive to other people that aren't Muslims. And I know you're saying, oh, it wasn't a big deal. We prayed in public. Like, it was 20 minutes, not a big deal, whatever. I still think that that is disrespectful and rude because we know in a Muslim country, a bunch of Christians wouldn't be able to gather.
But you could do what you want in public like that. Like, I remember in 2011, remember?
You would not be able to go.
An example.
I want to get 50 Christians and have them publicly gather and
yeah, they don't really pray like that.
And pray.
Christians don't.
And pray in a symbolic, in a Muslim country, in a symbolic area.
You said they would get beheaded if they did that.
I was exaggerating, but there would be problems. The police would show up and be like, get the fuck out of here.
If they were praying?
If Christians showed up, okay. If Christians showed up, let's say 50 Christians, right? What is the Times Square equivalent in
Also, you said if they did that in Mecca, then they would be beheaded.
Exaggerating.
That was a ridiculous comparison. Comparing Times Square to Mecca is
Times Square and
ridiculous.
Mecca is not the same. I mean, obviously being hyperbolic and exaggerating, but let's go ahead and give a functional equivalent.
Times Square, okay, Riyadh.
Let's say,
Dubai. Actually, no, Riyadh's not even, I would say the closest example in the Middle East to Times Square is like the Dubai Mall.
No, that's not as symbolic.
Times Square?
Let's say,
the most commercial area in New York City.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in the Middle East. Where would it?
Dubai Mall.
Dubai Mall is not it, man.
What's even close?
If we took an area, let's say maybe the Burj Khalifa or some shit like that in Dubai, UAE, right? Hypothetically.
That's not a commercial area. It's one building. That's one building.
It's a tall skyscraper. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is...
Okay, 50 Christians pray outside the Burj Khalifa?
Yeah, if they prayed outside the Burj Khalifa out loud with speakers and shit like that,
no one cares.
I think the police would tell them, what are you guys doing? They would definitely be like, what are y'all doing, bro?
They say praying.
And they'd be like, yeah, I got to go to a church. Like, they would not be able to do it as freely as you guys did in Times Square is my point. They would not be able to. Like, you guys are actually...
Would that be a faith thing or because the UAE is much more heavily policed than New York? Like,
well, that goes to my precise point that, it's a Muslim country and they're not standing for that. Versus if you decided to pray, they wouldn't bother you.
If 50 Christians were standing there praying like this,
there would be, and they had loudspeakers and all this other shit, bro. There'd be a problem in the UAE. There would absolutely be a problem. Versus, and they had loudspeakers and they did what you guys did.
So your argument is that the U.S. should be more like the UAE?
No, I'm saying that what I'm saying is that level of tolerance is not acceptable in Muslim countries, and it's unfair for us.
Because they don't have freedom of speech the same way we do. Like America is based off of free speech. That's why they can do that.
Yeah.
It's not really a faith thing. It's just a principle thing.
Well, again, like I said before, that would not be tolerated in a Muslim country, right? It would not be tolerated in a Muslim country, and we respect that
because they have different rules. They don't have like the freedom of speech doctrine the same way we do.
And what I'm saying is, since they don't have that there, we can't come here and expect, oh yeah, well, we want to go ahead and be able to do whatever we want. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about like the Muslims that come here that want to do what they want to do.
Most people that came to Times Square,
or even Muslims that are Americans.
Most of the people there were all born in America. Of
course. But what I'm saying is that like that would not be allowed in another Muslim country. So I look at it like it's fair. Like if you can't do that, if Christians can't go to a Muslim country and openly pray the same way that Muslims do in the United States, I think it just shows respect to not openly do it here. Because we're guests.
There's more Christian.
Now, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. That's very important too. Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
Pray in public?
Yeah. Just because you could, I don't think you should, especially as a guest. Because you could go to your friend's house, right, and kind of not put your shoes on, ask for extra food.
Yeah, I know, but
they're not going to want to have you back.
This, but this is not my friend's house. This is my country.
See, that's
my country, man.
That's that entitlement. Why niggas hate Muslims, bro. This is why people don't like Muslims, bro.
Because I was born here?
No, because they have this mindset of like, oh well.
I'm not a guest, but you think if people hate me because I don't think like I'm a guest in my own country, then they can hate me.
But the faith is the religion. You are a guest when you practice the religion. You are practicing a religion.
It makes me a guest to practice a different religion.
No. You're practicing a religion that is not the moral fabric of this country, and you're doing it, especially, here's the other thing, you're doing it openly when you have access to do it privately. That's rude and disrespectful to the host nation. Just because you could doesn't mean you should. And that's the problem that a lot of these Muslim guys don't get. Like
praying is rude?
No. Publicly and disrupting others, yes, absolutely.
I don't find, and also you said asserting dominance.
And this is why so many people
don't. Praying is actually the most submissive thing you could do, literally.
And this is why people don't like Muslims, because they have this mindset of, we're going to pray what we want, we're going to do what we want to do, and y'all can't do nothing because it's a free country. Just because it's a free country.
That's not why people hate Muslims.
Doesn't mean, this is a big reason why they dislike them.
People hate Muslims. I think you actually, I think you fell for the recent propaganda. Like, so right now, people are getting paid $7K to push Israeli propaganda. I think it's,
of course.
I think that that's part of it. Is making people.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make them hate Muslims.
Making people hate Muslims. People, you should. Man,
and bro, and this is why I'm saying these things. I'm saying these things because I don't want, because I know that they're gonna push this propaganda. I know they're gonna push it.
People hate Muslims because of 15, 20, 30 years of propaganda. Because of framing 9/11 and blaming all Arabs for 9/11. They hate Muslims 100%. Because of Israeli propaganda.
100%.
Not because of people praying. Not because I prayed in Times Square.
No.
The hatred of Muslims has nothing to do.
Here's the thing.
Dearborn is 100,000 people. It's a small city.
Yep.
Like this, the reason you're saying it's because some people prayed in public when it's really due to the strongest propaganda machine of all time.
Absolutely. So and I love that you said that. I understand as someone that worked in national security, that worked in terrorism, etc. Right? I understand this to a deep degree that other people don't. The disdain for Muslims, I agree with you. It came from the war on terror. It came from 9/11. It came from the propaganda and the lies that Israeli neocons push, saying Muslims are the enemy, Muslims are the enemy, Muslims are the enemy. I agree with you on that. What I'm saying is we already have a bad rap, unfortunately, in the West. Praying in public and disrupting people doesn't help our cause. Because I know how much they hate us, and I know that the Jews have been pushing this bullshit. I understand it. That's why I'm saying, we already have a bad rap here. Why are we going to go ahead and make it worse?
They have a misunderstanding about Islam. A lot of people think it's this crazy religion. So the misunderstanding from the average American, they think Allahu Akbar is a call for terrorism. That really means God is the greatest.
Yeah.
So when people in Times Square see, actually, I could tell you from experience being there, when they say, like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're praying because it's Ramadan. They're like, oh, that's cool. When they learn what it actually is, it's like it changes their mind about it. Because a lot of people have this idea that it's a violent, oppressive, terrible religion. And they see like,
true.
Oh, actually, we're not asserting dominance, but doing the most submissive act, praying to God, putting your head on the floor. They're like, oh, wow, wait, this is, and they hear the Quran, like, oh, this is kind of peaceful. I kind of like it. It changes their perception. It actually is dawah. So everything else going on in Times Square is chaos, is drug deals, it's just stupid stuff everywhere. They say, oh, these people, what are you guys doing? They look over. I talk to people afterwards, like, this is a time where we're fasting and prayer is extra important right now. So we all got together to pray. And they're like, oh, it's kind of cool.
Fair. Now, I see your perspective, but this is New York City where people are liberal. They're more open-minded. They want to learn. Fair. But you got to understand that most of America isn't like that, unfortunately.
That's why I think that you fell for the propaganda. Because people use that on social media. I think these are 7K posts trying to and they put a caption like, look at them taking over Times Square. It's like, no, we didn't take over Times Square. We didn't disrupt anyone. This is a section where we just prayed.
Here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. I know that the propaganda is out there. So me and you have a different way to deal with it. I'm saying the propaganda is out there. Let's not make it worse. You're saying the propaganda is out there. Let's change their mind. I'm saying they're not changing their mind.
They are, though.
Like, we both agree.
They are changing their minds.
Let's see where we agree. Here's a common ground. We both agree that Jews pushed out anti-Muslim propaganda for the past 30 years. We agree. 100%. I agree.
And a lot of Christians. Many Christians did this.
I agree. They push out that we're violent. They push out that we're fucking heathens, that we're, brutes. We don't understand we don't understand
peace.
And
now we're guests on our own home.
Bullshit. I agree with you that they've been pushing out this propaganda has been led by fucking neocon Jews. Agreed. Now, your response to that is, let's get them to understand our religion and let's we pray. Hopefully they'll be, open-minded and they'll want to learn. Cool. Some people will. My argument is I think most people won't. And I think given the propaganda that's been pushed in America for so goddamn long, that these fucking gay-ass Jews have been pushing, saying Islam is bad, these guys are jihadists, they want to kill everybody, etc.
It's not just Jews saying that. It's
it's a lot of stupid Christians, that evangelical Christians believed it as well. You're right. They've been pushing it. This is what a lot of Americans think. So when we openly pray, when we do these things, what do they assume? They assume that we're trying to assert dominance and we're trying to take the country over. And then you have other Muslims saying, we're going to spread Islam all across the place with this propaganda. Again, it's propaganda. I agree with you, it's propaganda. My argument to this push by the Jews now propaganda is we need to be measured and understand that we need to operate in a way where people don't understand the religion and most people don't care to understand the religion. You're operating from a position of, they want to understand, they should understand. That's the good way. Bro, if people wanted to understand the religion,
but I'm not going to play into the rage bait. I'm not going to let that win.
I'm saying most Americans don't care and they don't want to understand.
I don't find that to be true. I think that this is an echo chamber on Twitter. I think that this is due to propaganda posts, and most normal people don't think the way that you see on a small minority online.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, it's a silent majority of people that do not like Islam and they don't trust Muslims. They look at us like we're wild and we're gonna take over and all this shit. And I think that us praying outside exacerbates the problem. And there's other ways to go about it.
Changing the narrative is not being more submissive and like acting more like a guest and abiding by the lies and operating around that. It's showing the truth and being comfortable who you are.
I think it's operating on the reality of where we stand as a nation, where people...
Cowering is not the way to change it.
It's not about cowering. It's about understanding where you're at.
In private, like, I can only pray in private because I don't want the people who hate me to hate me more.
See, you're going extreme.
That's what you said.
It's about private.
You said you should pray in private so that people who hate me don't hate me more.
Go to the mosque. Pray at your house.
Privately.
Yeah.
So you're saying pray privately so people hate me don't hate me more.
Bro, we have a bad reputation. Do you think exacerbating the problem and praying out in public and blocking off streets and doing all this shit is the way to go? I don't think so. I think that makes people hate us even more.
Operating in fear because of lies is not the way to change it.
It's not about operating in fear. It's about operating with respect, operating in reality, operating that most people don't care about.
Praying is respectful.
Most people don't care about Muslims and don't care to learn, bro. Like, let's be honest. When they say, oh, oy vey, you don't understand Judaism properly, and they try to sit there and tell you, let me tell you about Judaism, you're like, fuck you, fucking like, I don't give a fuck about you. Don't sit there and try to have your rabbi come in, because we used to shit on Jews for trying to tell people, well, you're being anti-Semitic. Same exact thing with Islamophobia. These niggas don't care about our religion. They don't give a fuck about learning about it. We're the minority, and they look at us as invaders. That's the reality. They look at us as invaders.
I think it's just a really closed-minded way to see people. I'll give you an example.
I agree, it's closed-minded, but that's the reality.
It was Yom Kippur.
That's the reality.
Yom Kippur was like 2 weeks ago in New York. I was biking through downtown Manhattan, and it was Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
We go through a park.
They shut down everything in Brooklyn. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they shut it down. And I was biking through a park, and I see a large gathering of people. And I'm vlogging. I'm like, what's this? I pull up to the vlog to film, and I hear them. It's like, oh, these are Jews celebrating Yom Kippur. And I listen up. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I hear the speech a little bit because I'm curious what they're saying. They were all leftist Jews criticizing Israel. The rabbi at the front of the speech was saying...
It's the Hasidic Jews, right?
They were saying... They weren't Hasidic. They look like normal Jews. The rabbi said...
It's usually the super religious ones that are critical of Israel.
In the speech, he said, Jews have been refugees for so long. How could the state of Israel do the same thing that happened to us? We've been kicked out of so many countries. How are we now expelling Palestinians?
You did say secular. Okay.
How are Palestinians expelling people from their own home? And I listened. I was like, oh, this guy's based. Mm-hmm. And I like kind of joined and I listened for a while, and I was pleasantly surprised. I would not have known that so many people did that if they weren't doing it publicly. Maybe if you go online, this is a great analogy, by the way. If you're online all the time and you see, a certain amount of information, you're going to have a certain view of like Muslims or Jews or Christians. So Twitter will have you think one way about Jews, and I saw that. I was like, I came in with the stereotype, and then I listened to what they're saying, and I learned something that I didn't know before. I talked to some of the people there, and then I went about my day.
But see, Sneako, you're assuming that everyone is going to be an inquisitive and an open-minded individual like yourself.
That's such a good example, like, because I'm seeing the Twitter, atmosphere where people are like, oh, Jew, all this stuff. People are. And so, and they're like,
one of the biggest,
and I assumed that was going to be like a pro-Israel thing.
One of the biggest mistakes people make, bro, is assuming that other people have the intellect that they do. The reality, bro, is that most people are in their low IQ, and they're not going to care to learn or understand anything. They're going to be like, yo, I have my worldview. I'm not changing it, whatever. And what I'm saying is, for 30 years, they've been pushing this propaganda that Muslims are violent. We want to take over. We want to do X, Y, Z, even though it's not true. And I agree with you. It's not true.
How is my analogy not the perfect example?
Because most people are not going to be like you and be open-minded and stop doing what they're doing to learn and be like, damn, this is different.
But if it's publicly and they hear it, then yeah, they will. Then they have their choice to be open-minded.
A lot of people will not be open-minded, is what I'm trying to say. They won't stop. You're hoping that the lowest common denominator person is going to be on your level, and I'm telling you,
I don't feel like appealing to the lowest common denominator people.
That's the majority, unfortunately. That's the majority. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, like, niggas don't give a fuck about Islam, and they're not going to learn. They're not going to care to figure it out.
I mean, walking on eggshells, walking on eggshells so stupid people
it's not about
remain stupid is just like,
it's not walking on eggshells. It's understanding that you're a guest here and respecting that, and then praying where you can. Dude, even Christians don't shut down streets and do all this shit.
Yeah, they do.
Like,
There's Christian festivals where they walk through.
Even if they did, this is their country. In a Muslim country, UAE, whatever, you could do that because it's their country. This is not our country. This is not our country.
I mean, look, there's more Christians in Saudi Arabia than there are Muslims in America. There's more, like, people have this misconception. Sure. They all the time say America's a Christian country. Like in the Middle East, like Morocco, there's public churches everywhere. People pray. Yeah. I went to Lebanon recently. There were so many Christians and Jews and all these people. Actually, there's big statues of Mary. People say perfect. They say Lebanon is a Muslim country. You go there, there's a giant statue of Jesus. Christian. That's public.
It's half Christian. But bro, again,
people should be able to exercise their faith publicly. Like, it's not.
Look, I think if you're a minority, especially a small minority, like a 1 or 2%, I think you need to understand where you kind of stand.
So the Christians in Lebanon can't pray in public.
Well, they're like 50%, bro. They're like 50%. That's a bit.
It's not. They're still a minority. It's like it's 40% or something. So technically, by your logic, they're 40%.
They're damn near 50%.
By your logic, they should take down the Jesus statue in Lebanon. It's like one of the big monuments of the country.
Well, again, they're a huge portion of the country. They're damn near half. That's a bit different.
But they're still minority. So minority. It's less than half.
2% versus 50%.
We gotta like. I would
2% versus 49% is a big difference, bro. Like a minority at 2% is not the same as a minority at 49%. Like you do have a voice there to a degree.
It's still a minority, but I'm just following your logic.
But again, it's like I said before, I do think that as Muslims, we are guests here. This is not a Muslim country. I think we can agree on that. You think that it's not a Christian country.
You keep saying this like the founding fathers didn't say that.
And you don't think it's a Christian country.
According to the founding fathers, I'm not a guest here.
Well, again,
to you maybe, but I mean, I'm literally following the logic that was outlined.
The founding fathers, again, I think
they said it's for all. They said freedom of religion. They said freedom of speech. I'm going to follow their logic.
Yeah, when they framed that in mind, they didn't think we would have Muslims praying openly in areas and disrupting people. I don't
Thomas
think
Jefferson had a copy of the Quran, and he specified that Mohammedans should be able to practice their religion.
Of course, but
they never specified that.
Now it's not. Yeah,
but they didn't say that. They didn't
practicing your religion is not the same as practicing your religion overtly and disrupting others. Again, bro, I'm only saying I don't think that we should be practicing our religion at the detriment to others enjoying their liberty. That's what I'm saying.
No one's liberties were inflicted on.
Bruh, like when you're playing the Adhan multiple times a day in U.S. cities.
Okay, so if you're playing loud music in a car, which happens all the time,
that's disruptive, and they get a ticket for that.
You don't get a ticket for that in New York.
You're playing loud music.
You don't get a ticket for that in New York.
There's laws in place.
Everyone in Brooklyn has a giant speaker.
And that's a problem. We don't want to hear that dumbass reggaeton. We don't want to hear that.
But not even that. What about rap music?
This is why New York City is dysfunctional. That's precisely the problem.
That's just part of the city.
These idiots come in and they bring their problem. That's a problem.
Okay, what about the giant screens in Times Square? Are they not disrupting people's vision?
Oh, come on, man.
What do you mean? Come on. You're talking about the audio.
This is
the
not
audio
the same.
disrupting.
This is not the same as.
How is that not the same?
Okay, comparing a minority religion and practicing it in a tourist hotspot in the United States is not the same as running a video or an ad on the TV, which is a part of capitalism, which is a fabric of this country, and people paying to have that.
Capitalism is fabric of the country, but freedom of religion isn't.
Freedom of yes, but what we're not talking about freedom of religion anymore. We're talking about openly practicing your religion and disrupting others. I'm not saying Muslims can't practice, bro. I'm not saying that. Like I'm saying, I don't think it's appropriate as a minority religion to be openly practicing your religion and disrupting others, because it is disruptive. Even if it might be disruptive a little bit, 20 minutes here, maybe 5 seconds here with the Adhan or whatever, it is disruptive. And I don't think as a 2% population, we should be doing that. Because we wouldn't
stay a minority. Don't stay a small minority in private and cower and be a guest.
We're always going to be minorities in America.
So just hide in fear.
No, go to a Muslim country if you want that. Here's the thing. UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, these countries are safer, cleaner, no taxes in some case, more financially advantageous than America. Go to the UAE, no taxes. And
I like it here.
And they love expatriates.
I like America.
Fine. I think I think it's important to assimilate if you're going to be in America. And assimilation is not
going to Times Square. And so what am I supposed to do in Times Square to assimilate?
Be quiet, take your pictures.
Times Square is the opposite of quiet.
Well,
everyone's loud in Times Square.
But don't be disruptive and
what about the dancers in Times Square?
Those niggas are annoying.
That's part of like literally every time you go to Times Square.
Those niggas are annoying.
There's the same the circles, the crowds that gather.
Bro, nobody wants to watch these Ginyu Force niggas.
Yeah, they do.
Let's go.
Yeah, they do. People, all the tourists go and gather up there, and that takes the same amount of space as the prayer did.
Bro,
are they disrupting? Are they not allowed to do that?
They are.
So the dancing's banned.
Them getting in the way. Get a permit. Pay for it. Like
you don't need a permit for a sidewalk. That's the point.
No, you do actually.
To dance on a sidewalk? No, you don't.
You actually do need a permit. When I set up my table and I want to do the debates, I got to get a permit, even though it's on a public sidewalk.
Yeah, for the dancers, they don't need permits. They never have.
Well, they just don't get them. And New York NYPD doesn't want to enforce that shit.
What law says you need to get a permit to dance?
Bro, if you're going to block off an area, right?
You're not blocking off. A crowd randomly gathers on its own.
Yeah, but you're disrupting the walkway for everybody else. You need a permit, bro.
But that's what the sidewalks are really open specifically for that, so people can gather and do what they want.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's why you have to get a permit. Like literally, bro, I have to deal with this bullshit with the city of Miami. New York City's even worse with that. It's just that these guys do it, and NYPD don't really do shit because they're like, bro, I'm not going to waste my time in the paperwork, cite this nigga for not getting a permit. But they should be getting a permit.
So it's illegal for them to what exactly?
Okay, so setting up some type of performance or whatever the fuck it may be, where that you're going to create a crowd or whatever, and they're doing it to generate money.
Performers are literally
and they're doing it, and it's a commercial act. They're doing it to make money. This is why you need a permit. Okay. But again, New York is filled with libtards, and this is why New York City sucks. This is why no one likes New York City. As a matter of fact,
greatest city.
See, you love New York City. I hate New York City.
It's the greatest.
Like criminals, degenerates, too much multiculturalism. You got these niggas that don't want to speak English. Like, this is why New York City sucks. I think the multiculturalism that you like, that is precisely why New York City is in the shitter. I think that's why it's so bad, because of all the multiculturalism. And I think, you hate multiculturalism? I think it creates a lot of problems. I do think so. Because people don't want to assimilate, right? Like, whether it's Jews blocking off areas, and just so you know, I don't like Puerto Rican Day parades. I don't like the Caribbean Day parades. These degenerate bitches like shaking their asses and shit. This is a big reason why, like, why I had to leave the Northeast, because like these Puerto Rican Day parades and these Dominican Day parades. Dude, there's way more Dominicans and Puerto Ricans in Miami than there are. No, we don't have as many here. Okay, Venezuelans, and Cubans, Colombians, whatever. But them niggas aren't as ostentatious as Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. Mm-hmm. They have to have their parades and do their bullshit and play their reggaeton. It's annoying, bro. It's disturbing. It's annoying. Like, we don't want that shit, man. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But anyway. Okay. So I mean, look. So you think America hates you? No, I don't think America hates me. I just think that, as guests, we should respect the we should respect the country that we're a part of. You're not a guest, bro. Like, we are guests, man. Okay. We are guests, bro. We're first generation Americans. Well, maybe you might be second or third generation. I'm first, yeah. Yeah, so you're first. Okay, so bro, we're visitors here, bro. Like, we're guests here. Like, I know you don't like hearing that. Yeah, we are. My mom was born here and my dad moved here. That makes me born. Okay, so you're somewhat first generation. 1.5. Okay, 1.5. I think honestly, bro, by definition, I'm not a guest. My country. Just as much as whoever hates me and thinks that I'm not a guest, they can they can choke, because like, just based off that, I'm just as American as you. Being an American is not defined by your race. It's not defined by your religion. It's defined by the tenets of what it means and what they wrote down, what the founding fathers wrote, and it's also defined by your passport and your birth certificate. And that ambiguity is the problem. It's not ambiguous at all. That ambiguity with like not saying like an American is anything. Then blame the founding fathers, because that's what they wrote. They didn't intend that. So anyone who hates me, they didn't intend that. These immigration laws like fucked everything up. They did not intend it for it to become this way, where we just importing people from all over the world to come here. Like, that ambiguity is what creates the problems, because these people come from these other countries with their fucked up culture, with their fucked up practices, and they try to bring it here. And then this is where you run into multiculturalism and you run into problems. Bro, me and you live in we're here in Brickell, so it's extremely multicultural. It's multicultural here. You hear more Spanish here than English. True, but there's also a lot of Jews here too. Jews and Hispanics. But these are like cream of the crop. These are like people that are royalty in their countries wherever they go. But let's be honest, the safest neighborhoods in America, what are they? They're white majorities typically. Okay. Right? Like that's where we're gonna be at. Like so. Yeah, but the cultural center of the world is New York City, and that's because of multiculturalism. And New York City sucks. Yeah, but that's where all the great art comes from. That's where everything dope. That's where all the faggots are at. That's where everything starts. New York City is like the center of the universe, exactly because of multiculturalism. Because people come there from all over the world. Because people put their best out there. There's going to be crime in packed places, but that's where you get greatness. If you want quiet suburbs with nothing going on, then sure, go there. But I think that multiculturalism is actually what's led New York City to the problems that it has now. Every city has Every city has crime and problems. Yeah, of course, but like New York City is like, that's supposed to be our beacon city. Well, like, why is it that New York City still is? But like, why is it that New York City is so fucking terrible? Right? Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and have this discussion. Why is that New York City is so fucking trash with the multiculturalism? But you go to the UAE, there's a lot of multiculturalism. But why is it? Why is it? Because they don't have freedom of speech. And they don't have the same like freedoms that Americans have. And they got an apartheid state, basically. Yeah. If you're a foreigner and you commit a crime. So you want to change the definition, like you literally want to change everything. What being an American No, I'm just saying we do multiculturalism wrong, is what I'm saying. We do it here in America wrong. Versus in UAE, they force you to assimilate. Then tell the founding fathers they fucked up. Then say being an American, that what they did is wrong. I didn't. Well, here's the thing. It's not what they did is wrong. It's just that they didn't expect for this to happen. So they were wrong. They didn't expect. They made a mistake. Lyndon B. Johnson to like sign the Civil Rights Act and bring everybody in. So you're saying the founding fathers fucked up? No, I'm not saying they fucked up, but they didn't foresee this stuff 400. That's making a mistake. That's what that is. They did not foresee what would happen in the 60s with Lyndon B. Johnson and everything else like that. They did not foresee that. They did not foresee what would we be now. And I truly do think if they knew that it was going to be like this, I don't think they would have probably put some measures in there like, yeah, we got to limit immigration to this. We got to maintain a certain percentage of people to this and everything else like that. I think they would have probably if they knew the future was coming that we have now, they would have absolutely adjusted things in the founding documents differently. Oh, the founding fathers made a mistake. I don't think they were wrong. I think that they didn't foresee a lot of this shit. Which is fair. I mean, no one can foresee 400 years in advance, like 400 years, like all this bullshit. Mm-hmm. right? That like I don't think they foresaw that this shit would happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bottom line,
I still think we're the greatest country in the world. Don't get it twisted. I just think like when it comes to the whole, well, the freedoms we have, hold on, the freedoms we have, hold on.
Exactly.
Hold on.
So I'm going to pray in public because that's my freedom.
The main reason
I'm free.
I was going to say mostly the capitalistic opportunities here.
First thing you said was freedoms.
Well, so I was going to get into
the freedoms to pray in public, Myron.
I mean, not going to let me know. The freedoms to pursue wealth creation in any way that you want. That's
wealth creation?
Yes, like capital. Why do you think people come to America to make money? We are the land of opportunity. So like we have a bunch of capitalistic opportunities that other countries simply don't. That's what makes us the best country.
We have freedom.
There's other countries you get freedom at. UK is a fairly free society.
I agree. Australia, I agree with your first.
Canada.
I agree with.
See, you cut me up. Man.
The freedom is what makes us great. I'm about to go pray in the middle of Brickell right now.
Freedom of capitalism.
I'm about to go shut down the street.
You got to go?
All Muslims, let's go right now. Allahu Akbar.
Yes, he's going to pray on the street, guys. We're going to shut it down.
This is my home. I own this country. I'm not going anywhere.
What street are you going to shut down?
I'm going to shut down right here on First Ave. I'm going to be blasting the Quran. All Muslims are going to pull through. No one's going to be able to walk. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's good, man. And thank you for staying. I know.
Welcome to the party, man. It's so glad you're happy. You're here on Party, man.
Hey, man, I'm happy
party
to be
takeover.
Yeah, I'm sorry for holding you here longer than I told you I would.